moment anti-Trump protester tries to climb on top of a California Highway Patrol car and quickly falls off as it speeds away. A man was protesting in the street in Sacramento ahead of the president's visit. The protester climbed on top of the California Highway Patrol car onto its roof. The officer driving decided to suddenly speed up, causing the man to topple off. Demonstrator needed medical attention. The extent of his injuries are unknown. There was little sympathy for the protester on Twitter. Trump was visiting California to see the devastation wrought by forest fires. Trump said wildfires in California are a forest management issue, but sidestepped questions about climate change. By James Gordon for DailyMail.com and Associated Press. Published 2354 BST, the 14th of September 2020, updated 2:06 BST, the 15th of September 2020. A man protesting the arrival of the president in Northern California on Monday was struck by a California Highway Patrol car while demonstrating in the street. Video shot by a bystander and posted to Twitter shows protesters were in the street gathered outside McClellan Park in Sacramento ahead of the president's visit. Although some supporters of the president were present, many were attempting to make their voices heard over concerns regarding climate change, when all of a sudden a single protester decided to climb on top of the police car. Instead of slowing down, the officer kept on driving just as the man had clambered up onto the roof of the vehicle. The police officer driving the car suddenly accelerated away, causing the man to lose his balance and tumble from the top of the car, hitting the ground. A man was protesting in the street in Sacramento ahead of the president's visit. The protester climbed on top of the California Highway Patrol car onto its roof. The officer driving decided to suddenly speed up, causing the man to topple off. Other protesters who were watching the incident unfold screamed in horror while some videoed the police car as it sped off and attempted to chase it down the road. An ambulance was called and the man was taken to the hospital a short time later, although the extent of his injuries are unknown. The patrol car sped away, leaving the demonstrator needing medical attention. The extent of his injuries are unknown. Fellow demonstrators ran after the police officer after the incident, which was caught on video on Twitter. There was little sympathy for the man. You have the right to protest, but you don't have the right to put others in harm's way or to impede others. This protester should be cited for at least damaging the police vehicle, and possibly arrested for mayhem. Also, I hope the guy in the red hat who was on top of the CHP vehicle at least broke his jaw when he landed. Being stupid should have consequences, and those consequences should be painful, wrote one. Those that climbed aboard the CHP car or tried to block it deserved every bump and bruise. They were interfering with the peace officer in performance of his duties. Hope that facial recognition software is good enough to identify these jerks for arrest, added another. Trump was headed to McClellan Park, a former air base just outside Sacramento, California. There was little sympathy for the protester on Twitter. One Twitter user wished injury on the man who ended up falling from the car. Another Twitter users said that medical aid should be denied to those who stood on police cars. California wildfires have already incinerated a record 2.3 million acres this year and are expected to continue till December, with crews battling wildfires that have killed at least 35 people, destroyed neighborhoods and enveloped the West Coast in smoke. Another fight has emerged. Leaders in the Democratic-led states and President Donald Trump have clashed over the role of climate change ahead of his visit. California, Oregon and Washington state have seen historic wildfires that have burned faster and farther than ever before. Numerous studies in recent years have linked bigger wildfires in the U.S. to global warming from the burning of coal, oil and gas. The Democratic governors say the fires are a consequence of climate change, while the Trump administration has blamed poor forest management for the flames that have raced through the region and made the air in places like Portland, Oregon, Seattle and San Francisco some of the worst in the world. President Trump has pushed for forest management to help combat fires, but Gavin Newsom told him climate change is real. Protests against President Donald Trump just took a turn. Bystander video shows a protester climb on top of a CHP car. The officer keeps driving knocking the protester onto the street. The protester is waiting on medical aid at fox40pic.twitter.com/we7ldvzzddx. Jessica Mensch, at JessMensch, September 14, 2020. The governors have been blunt. Washington Governor Jay Inslee on Sunday called climate change a blowtorch over our states in the West. It is maddening right now that when we have this cosmic challenge to our communities, with the entire west coast of the United States on fire, to have a president to deny that these are not just wildfires, these are climate fires. Washington Gov. Jay Inslee said Sunday on ABC's This Week. As Newsom toured a ghost-like landscape destroyed by flames Friday, he called out the ideological BS of those who deny the danger. The debate is over around climate change. Just come to the state of California, observe it with your own eyes, he said. He noted that just in the last month, California had its hottest August, with world record-setting heat in Death Valley. It had 14,000 dry lightning strikes that set off hundreds of fires, some that combined into creating 5 of the 10 largest fires in the state's recorded history. And it had back-to-back heat waves. Symbolic gesture. Donald Trump's talks with California leaders including Governor Gavin Newsom, fourth from left, saw him challenge on climate change. Oregon Governor Kate Brown said about 500,000 acres typically burn each year, but just in the past week, flames have swallowed over 1 million acres, pointing to long-term drought and recent wild weather swings in the state. This is truly the bellwether for climate change on the West Coast, she said Sunday on CBS Face the Nation. And this is a wake-up call for all of us that we have got to do everything in our power to tackle climate change. At a rally in Nevada, Trump blamed the way states have run the land, saying it is about forest management. White House advisor Peter Navarro echoed that Sunday on CNN's State of the Union, saying that for many years in California, particularly because of budget cutbacks, there was no inclination to manage our forests. Forest management, which includes tree thinning and brush clearing, is costly, labor-intensive work that is effective in reducing fuel for wildfires. Millions of dollars are spent on such reduction efforts every year in western states, though many argue more needs to be done. The efforts can also be undercut when homeowners in rural areas don't undertake similar efforts on their own properties. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti accused Trump of perpetuating a lie that only forest management can curtail the massive fires seen in recent years. He pointed to drought and the need to reduce carbon emissions. Tweak to a firefighter, if you think that climate change isn't real, the Democratic mayor said on CNN's State of the Union. It isn't clear if global warming caused the dry, windy conditions that have fed the fires in the Pacific Northwest, but a warmer world can increase the likelihood of extreme events and contribute to their severity, said Greg Jones, a professor and research climatologist at Linfield University in McMinnville, Oregon. Warnings of low moisture and strong winds could fan the flames in hard-hit southern Oregon to northern California and last through Tuesday. Tens of thousands of people have fled their homes as the fast-moving flames turned neighborhoods to nothing but charred rubble and burned out cars. At least 10 people have been killed in Oregon. Officials have said more people are missing, and the number of fatalities is likely to rise, though they have not said how high the toll could go as they search. In California, 24 people have died, and 1 person was killed in Washington state. A chicken wanders through charred remains from the Beachy Creek fire near the destroyed Oregon Department of Forestry. Firefighter Steve McAdoo, who has run from one blaze to another in Oregon for 6 days, said his neighbors in rural areas outside Portland should clear trees near their homes because a week like they just survived could happen again. I would think the way the climate is changing, this may not be the last time, he said. In the small southern Oregon town of Talent, Dave Monroe came back to his burned home, partly hoping he'd find his 3 cats. We thought we'd get out of this summer with no fires, he said. There is something going on, that's for sure, man. Every summer we're burning up. Let's block ads. Why?
show your love for him. Click the link in description. Thanks for watching.